Hello, it's Monday night. Where's everyone? Oh, you're here. There's a bunch of you here already, waiting patiently. If you're here, let me know where you are, who you are, yada, yada, yada. Why does everything look red on my nose? Do you see that? I am not liking that. I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm actually going to take some redness away right there. I don't know. Doesn't look like that on, hold on, is it a makeup thing? Never done this before. Well, I mean, I've done this before, just not while I was on. I usually check that beforehand. What's going on? I look like I have dark circles. Anyway, it's Monday night, you guys. Let me know. Hello, Monica. Hello, Marge. Sorry, I don't know. I guess it is my face. I'm wondering if I have like blush on my fingers and then I hit there. I don't know. Hello, Facebook. Hello, Kelly and Helen and Kathy and Kendra and Jean. Hello. It's Monday night with Deborah. And on Monday nights, we just talk. That's what we do. We talk, you ask questions. I have nothing prepared because I can't remember questions. I don't think that I had questions submitted this week. So the whole premise of these Monday nights is just to talk and learn and hopefully laugh. I'm not in a ranty mood, which is good. I just finished, and some of you know this because you were there, the ETA kind of like social hour check-in night. And I love that. I love doing that. So it's been a good day. It's a happy Monday. Hello, Melissa and Maria. Hello, Grace, Sharon, Melanie, Karen. No problem, Karen. It's weird. It worked out. It totally worked out. It's weird the way the universe works. So all good. Hello, Annie from Colorado. Let me know where you guys are, too, if you've not tuned in before. I always like to hear where you're tuning in from. And if it's your first time, let me know that, too. So glad it's not snowing there. You and my entire family is very happy that it's not snowing so that I don't have to go into a rant like I normally do. Rant like crazy. Before I forget, I have a gallery, not next, March 23rd. It's, I believe, a Tuesday night. I'm looking for my phone. Every time I look down, like, where's my phone? Facebook is streaming off of my phone, so that's where it is. Hello, Alex. Hello, Devin. Hello, Laura. So March 23rd, I have an online gallery. You could find details on my website. Or I'm sure Greg will post my calendar there. So what's up? Hello from Fort Worth, Texas. Hello. What's it like there? How are you doing, Denise? Or is that, I don't know the state of Texas well enough. Were you hit by all of that ice and snow? And how are you doing with your drinking water in Texas? We heard all this terrible things about Texas. So hopefully you didn't experience any of that. So what's up? What are your questions? I have nothing to rant about. Tons to be grateful for, thank goodness. And I'm in a good space. Let's see. Denise said, yes, I was. And I was teased by many of my New York family because that's why I left New York. Of course. Of course. So it followed you. The ice and snow and all of that followed you. Hello, Aisha. Oh, Maria is saying you were so crabby today. Why were you crabby? I hate when I'm crabby. And worse than when I hate when I'm crabby, my family hates when I'm crabby. The boys actually told me, Kentucky, Devin, cool. My boys told me that my father told me that he overheard the boys talking to each other. And my father told me this, and then the boys confirmed it, that when they think I'm upset or if they have a question that they're going to ask and it's not a good time to ask me a question, they strategically bring Baker into our room so that I start petting Baker and I get into a good mood and I feel like, oh, Baker, and I do the whole Baker voice, and then they ask me. apparently one of them said, yo, I figured out when you can ask mom stuff, and it's when I'm with the dog. That's when I'm most approachable. Who knew? Miracles can happen, you guys. That's my life. Miracles can happen. Yeah, smart boys. That's right. Yes, it's going to be in the 60s. See, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's getting light out. Every night I'm like, oh my God, it's 6:15 and it's not pitch black. Oh my gosh, there's hope. Holy moly. So so that's why I'm in a good mood. It's I know winter, I know we could still have storms and stuff, but now we're at the end. Now we're hopefully at the end, right, you guys? End of winter. All right, I saw a question here from Jen. This is a good question. So for those of you who don't know the format, you just type in a question, stuff that we all can learn from. So I don't take personal intuitive questions. Occasionally I do, I throw that in, but it is infrequent. And I find that the regulars are enjoying this more than just answering intuitive questions, which does get a little wonky. So Jen is asking, how do you feel about cords in people, like having cords in you with people of your past? So, what I think you're talking about, and I don't want to make the assumption, but I think you're talking about cords. You're using the right term. You're using the term I would use. But I always like to think of them as like tethers or plugs. So people get plugged in, like, we're power sources. And depending on what type of energy field you have, depending on with whom you have them, because we have different energy fields with different people, sometimes we forget to unplug people's cords with us, and we say like, oh my gosh, like, no, I'm no more the source of your energy anymore. Our kids tend to plug in real fast, and we tend to keep our kids plugged into our energy field, which isn't always a good idea to keep them there, plugged in. So at night, if we visualize just unplugging all these cords from other people, that helps. That is a good practice, actually. If you're feeling drained, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you feel like someone's energy is just sucking you dry, literally visualize a plug or cord coming from them to you and keep unplugging it. And it's wild because sometimes you'll unplug it and it will be done. They'll be unplugged. Other times you'll see the plug go right back and like go, oh my gosh. Another interesting thing is sometimes you'll see the plug go right into your gut, and you've been having issues with your stomach, or you find the plug is like your shoulder and there's been issues with your shoulder. Then you know that issue with your shoulder or stomach or wherever it's plugged into has also roots to an energetic seed or cause, that it's not just physical, that there's a deeper cause for it. So while we are all interconnected and plugged into each other, we don't need to remain constantly plugged into each other. It goes the other way around too. Notice, who are you plugged into? And we all like to think of like, oh, I'm so drained. And I do this too. I'm so drained. But like, who am I draining? And Greg, don't answer that, because I'm probably draining you and my children first. But it goes both ways. Shocker that we could be draining. Shocker. I know, guys. It's weird to think that I could drain someone. It's impossible even. But I'm pretty sure that at times I can be draining. When we can see both sides, then we can be clearer. So does that help your question, Jen? And if not, you can expand on it for me for sure. Let's see. Oh, Maria is crabby because she went to Big Lots to get a dog toy. The place was packed and there were only 2 registers open. How many of you are finding that you don't know how to behave? Not just you, Maria. I'm finding I don't know how to behave in stores anymore. Like I almost am like, what are you guys doing in my store? Like, why are you, Nope, you're not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be here now. Like, how many of you are finding out it's kind of hard to behave in like the way we used to? And I don't think we're really behaving differently. We're just probably thinking that we're behaving differently. But yeah, it's weird. How many of you feel like it's weird to be out in the world? It's just weird. It's draining. I know I get drained really fast out in the world now. And I was drained before. It's just probably that I'm noticing that I'm drained really fast. It was our constant. Now it's not. I find more people are like, no, I love being home. I don't want to go out. I don't want to be anywhere. I find a lot of people say that. Let's see. Kathy's asking, are you feeling that the pandemic will be mostly resolved by mid-year? So we're looking June. No. I think we are finding better coping strategies, but I do not find it to be mostly resolved. And I know what you're talking about. I know you're not saying like not ending, because I do think this is now like it's here. It's like the flu. It's here, and I don't know. I haven't read no research on this, so I'm answering literally from my intuitive take on it, that it's going to be something that we live with, and maybe we'll eradicate it, but I don't even know if there's discussion about like it's polio, we can eradicate it. So I'm totally useless on that topic now, aren't I? But do I think that we'll return to a normal? No. No, because there's so much fear now kicked up into the planet, and we're going to need time to come down from that. So when schools, say schools go back to normal, air quotes, in September, the school system might be ready to go back, but I don't think a lot of parents will be ready to put their kids back, nor do I think some kids will want to go back, which is then going to create another whole, like, oh, shoot, now we have two bunches of people who want to stay home in school and those who don't. So I don't think it's going to be over by mid-June or mostly resolved. I think we're getting better. I think it's going to be that seasonal thing. Like we all know, none of this is like earth-shattering psychic work here. I think it's, what we're observing. Of the warmer months will be a little less hyped up, and the winter months we're going to be like, okay, it's kind of like flu season, it's COVID season, even though I know it's all year round, and I'm not saying that it's not. For whoever wants to jump down my throat for saying that, that's not what I'm saying. So does that even help? Well, we won't be living like this. We won't feel forced to live like this forever. Let's put it that way. A lot of people, I think, will choose to live closer to this over time. So that's my final answer. COVID has been in this house going on 4 weeks. I love being home, but these boys, ugh. If I have to put down another toilet seat, I will die. I feel you. Jill. It's the boy mom, boy household for sure. We're getting all cozy with our families, aren't we? You're just like, oh my gosh. My son lost his keys yesterday. I taught a class yesterday. I drove my one son to the gym. And when I was dropping him off to the gym, I got a call from my other son, and he had lost his keys while at work at the Woodbury Commons. So that was fun. However, I was like, okay. I remained calm, like we are going to find these keys, because he got to the Commons. So clearly from the car going into work, he lost them. So we're just going to retrace our steps. We're going to find these keys. And I really did go into spidey senses, my intuitive self. I call it my spidey senses. I went into the spidey senses. I'm like, are these keys lost? And I was like, no, they are not lost. I am finding those keys. So I drove there, and at first I was like, oh, I really was like tired. I wanted to like kind of chill out. And then I was so grateful that I was alone in my car with music. And I was like, this is the best thing that ever could have happened to me today. I went with him. I wasn't even worried about finding the keys at all. He was, oh my God, I can't find the keys. Blah. I'm like, no, they're here. We are finding these keys. Long story short, We're searching the car, which was a mess, by the way, which is disgusting, which I was horrified at the disgustingness of his car. Side note, anyway, that we closed the door and I turned around. I'm like, okay, got to think. And I looked down and someone must have found it and put it in the windshield, like on the outside of the car next to him. Found the keys. And I went, Benjamin. And I picked up the keys and I handed them to him. And I calmly walked back. He's going, I'm so sorry, Mom. And I wasn't mad. I was not mad. I was like, whew, great. And I was like, I'm going back in my car. And I'm going to listen to music on my way back home. And this was a very, very pleasant afternoon for me. Isn't that sad? Isn't that totally sad? But you mentioned being home with boys. And I was like, no, a great ride for a car. It was productive. I got the job done. And then I came home by myself with no talking and music. It's like, it's the new heaven. That's what I call it. So yeah, how many of you are retreating to your cars for sanity, for help, to work? I know a lot of you are actually sitting in your cars for readings with me. I hear this all the time. Deborah, oh my God, I had to be in my car. Can you still hear me? Oh my gosh, should I take it off of Bluetooth? Is that too much? I hear it all the time. It's like a really great place to be. So bless your cars. Thank your cars. For those of you that have a car, be super in love with your car that you have this place to retreat to. All right, let's see. Eileen said, I can't handle people anymore. I have no patience and get anxious and very drained. Maria said, me too. And Greg said, oh, Eileen, is this something new? Right. It's not new. It's just happening faster and quicker. That's what happened. Seeing a packed store has me turning around and heading out. Don't know if I'll ever get used to packed malls, stores, concerts. I know. And for me, it's not about the germs. I don't care. Like, thank God I'm not a germaphobe. But like, it's not the germs. It's just sort of like, ooh, lots of interaction needed now. Don't want to. Can't. Hi. Eyes. What? Sorry, can't hear you. It's muffled. I don't want to do it. So yeah, I think we're all feeling that way. Yeah, see, Grace is saying that. A lot of us do that. Karen does groceries once a month, was surprised at the price increase. Anyone else notice? Oh, no, I don't notice because I'm the worst shopper ever. People will be like, oh, I picked up extra chicken this week because it was on sale. And I was like, what? What do you mean chicken goes on sale? And like, what do you do with it then? Like, I know you freeze it, but that's like a multi-step for an ADHD person. Chicken on sale, pre-buying it ahead of time requires a lot of steps in the brain because now you also buy it. I admire this, by the way. I'm not like making fun of it. I legit admire this quality of, you bought extra chicken because it's cheaper. So you freeze it, which also then takes prefrontal planning of when you're going to defrost said chicken and when to save money. To me, I'm just like, whoa, that's a lot of thoughts. That's a lot of thinking that my brain doesn't compute like that. It doesn't. I can't do it. So no, I haven't noticed the price increase, but you know what? I wouldn't know if I bought the person behind me's groceries. I'd be like, wow, Jesus, boys, you're eating a lot. And they'll be like, Mom, you scanned four other people's. I wouldn't even know. I don't know the cost of anything. It's terrible. It's a nice problem. It's a nice problem. You usually find it again when it's frostbitten. Yeah, I'm sure we have frozen chicken in this house, but now that it's frozen too, I'm not going to eat it because I'm like, ew, I think it's bad. I don't know, you guys. I don't do domestic. I just don't. I'll work with you on the level of the soul, but on the level of the home, house, cooking, cleaning, no, thank you. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I'll read any questions, thoughts. Oh, good, Annie. Annie had Monday night dinners, but was so tired it was canceled. They were relieved. Isn't that funny? Isn't it funny how we always feel like nobody else is relieved when plans are canceled? We're just like, oh, I'm so sorry to disappoint you. Meanwhile, the person that you're canceling on is like, yes, right? We all think like, oh, I feel terrible. Don't. They probably are thrilled. They're probably like, good. I don't have to get my pajamas. I don't have to take off my pajamas. I don't know. We're becoming so not social. Oh my goodness. All right. Fruit, vegetables, and meat are so expensive. Delivery charges are higher. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Okay, D, I'm in the worst freaking mood today. I feel like I can't interact with anyone lately. Worst feeling ever. It's nice to hear it though. Like, I don't know. I think I lost my ability to be in public. Someone asked me last week, oh, so when are you going to like open up your office again? And I was like, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. I can't people yet. I can't do that yet. I don't want to do it with masks. That's my thing. I will not. Masks are important and I'm a pro masker. I do for whatever reason, right, wrong, or indifferent, just fucking do it. Oops, sorry. So just do it. This is what I feel like. Just do it. Nobody likes it. I hate it. I won't do my appointments with a mask on. I just can't. The energy will just be so draining. That's what I'm telling myself. So I get it. Yeah, I get it. But this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Let's see, Jay, everyone and their mother bought a dog during COVID, including yours truly and me. Yep, everyone in the doggy supply chain, groomers, vets, surgeons are all backed up, not taking any new patients here in Seattle because of it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, our vets, and you're right, the pet stores, maybe we should have bought in stock in animal care for sure. That would be a smart idea. Robin had a dream about me on Saturday night. You were looking in Hunter's car for something, just weird now that you told the key story. Wow, is his card really disgusting? Like one of my children? Because it was really disturbing. I was like, who is your mother? Who taught you this disgustingness? And then I was like, oh, right, gotcha. Oh, let's see. Beth is saying I'm in high anxiety mode for 2 weeks. My birthday was 2/27 with the full moon. Could that be why? I wouldn't even, I teach this in a lot of the classes. We all always want to know why we're feeling happy, or no, we very rarely go, why am I so happy? This is weird. We usually like, why am I anxious? Why am I sad? Why am I angry? Why am I whatever? And I want to train people to stop asking why we feel a certain way. So could the full moon be it? Could be. Could it be just the state of the world? Could it be something that happened that day? Could it be life? It's all these things. So I want everyone to stop trying to attach a why to a feeling. This is really important to me on the level of energy work, because when I'm working with energy, I feel things. And what I feel creates a thought in me. And then I can piece together what's going on with, like, say, you're my client. I could kind of feel my way through it and attach thoughts to it. And I see very regularly, like, not see it with my eyes, but see it with my experience. When we start looking for the reasons why we're anxious, why we're sad, why we're depressed, why we're angry, why we're jealous, why we're competitive, why we're fill in the blank, our brain's just retrieving old data. It's not new and it doesn't help. And this is what my ETA class is all about. It doesn't help to ask why. And therapy often wants to get to the why. And there's some value sometimes, in my opinion, there's some value sometimes. But if we can train ourselves to no longer question our own feelings at any time, we automatically and naturally and organically get into the rhythm of nature, get into the rhythm of ourselves, and we feel those things less. Just naturally, without having to figure anything out, without having to try harder, without having to do much. We just naturally start gravitating towards what is right and feels right for us. So, Beth, while it's our natural inclination, because we think as human beings, we think, well, if I know why or what is upsetting me, then I can fix it. But that's not true. That's not how it works. how it works is the opposite. It's just feel it. Feel the anxious, let yourself feel anxious. And you can, with anxiety, it's usually our mind either completely ruminating about something in the past that we can't change, or it's something about the future that we're concerned about. It's the what ifs. And that means we're out of the now, we're out of the present, which is, if we can bring ourselves back to the present, we do well. It takes time. It takes practice. It's not something that's going to click on and off like a light switch. So could it be the moon? I doubt it, to be honest. I mean, there's definite tidal rhythms, and there's so much out there about, oh my God, full moon. And I do believe our behavior changes with the planetary alignment because it's all energy. So yes, but is the moon making us that much more? No way. No way. It's our immediate thoughts. We like to look at external things. Could it be this? Could it be that? Could it be this? Could it be that? We all do it, not just you, Beth. We all do it. But there's no power. What if it is the moon that's making? What if it is? Let's say it is. We're screwed then, because every time the moon is in that space, oh boy, now we're going to be anxious. That's totally unempowering. But if we can go inside and find our way through and feel our way through the anxious moment, we're empowered to actually contain it, and it's not an external thing. And that's my work with people. That is what I like to help people see. What is your instrument of yourself? How do you play yourself in harmony versus dissonance with your environment, with your lives? Everything is either in harmony or discord, and we can feel it. It doesn't matter what the brain says. So I hope that helps, but if not, ask me more. Tell me more. Ugh, I wonder how the commons are in this pandemic. The store he works in, that I won't share, he usually comes home and says it's like dead. It's kind of dead, but I don't know if that's just his store or what. Let's see. Hello, lots of people watching. Everyone's saying yes, high prices. What are my thoughts on the COVID vaccine? So, again, I'm not a medical person. I have no scientific reference or no scientific any knowledge, actual knowledge about any vaccine, but specifically the COVID vaccine. I, by nature, I'm not fond of vaccines. I'm not anti-vaxxer. All my kids have been vaccinated, but I was always cautious with what they received and when. So I never liked, and I don't know why. Like, again, I don't know why. It just was my intuition was that I didn't want my kids to get, say, 4 vaccinations in one visit. I'd rather come to him 4 separate times over the longer course. So my kids were usually vaccinated like long, drawn out, and still are. Now they're adults. So, and there's millions of children who are vaccinated perfectly fine. I know this, but there was something that left me unsettled. Probably, well, I know why, but that's another whole long story. I know part of the reason why. So I'm not really a fan of vaccines. I don't get the flu vaccine personally. However, I am amazed at my own, and again, this is my own because I don't want to open a debate whether it's right or wrong or any of that stuff. So the question was asked how I feel about it. I am amazed at my own willingness and desire for this vaccine to work. And therefore, I wish I could receive one. And I'm last on the list. You know what I mean? Like, it's not my time to receive one. So I'm cool with waiting. And there's people that need it way before me. Greg got his second shot on Friday because he works for the government. So we had the opportunity to get their shot. So I do think, while it's scary because we don't know, I do feel like it's something, which might not be right. But I personally, if I had the opportunity to get the vaccine right now, I would. One way or the other. I think I like that it's not a live virus, that it's sort of a new, I guess they call it new technology or so. I kind of like that. And it's what our world is being put in front of us, and I distrust pharmaceutical companies. I distrust big pharma. I distrust the FDA. I don't like why, because I've had my own experiences with these places. So I'm distrustful. Like, I'm not somebody who wants to jump on any bandwagon. And yet I feel that if I could have this vaccine, I would absolutely get it and start the process. So might as well try it, which sounds insane on some level. And I understand a lot of people would say, don't you know it's poison? Don't you know it's this? Don't you know it's that? I know, but for me personally, I would have no hesitation getting it. Let's see. Took you a long time to agree to the vaccine. Yep. And I say this in hopes that people kind of exhale and are able to go inward to feel what works best for you. I'm not saying like, I think it's okay, so go ahead and do it. I want you to feel your way through it, because originally I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it from this particular company or that company. And I have changed on that. I definitely have changed on that big time. So just because I went inward, I go inward and go, okay, what do you feel? This feels okay for me. So maybe I'll be wrong. I don't know. But that's my feelings on the vaccine. Did Jack have a good birthday celebration? Thank you for asking that, Maria. He did have a very good birthday celebration. It was the first year, though, he told my dad that he misses me. He came out and said, oh my God, I really miss my mom. And he was like, this is the first birthday that I didn't see my mom on my birthday, which I thought, oh my God. So he did have a good birthday. He bought himself a tattoo, which I have a tattoo, but I am not a fan of tattoos. And when it's your son and you created that arm, there was a part of me that had to realize that it's just because I created that arm doesn't mean it belongs to me. So I'm super happy with him that he did what he wanted to do, and he researched it and thought about it for a long time. I love the meaning of the tattoo, which is an extraordinary meaning that he came up with. So those things I like. So yes, he did have a great birthday. I'll post a picture that they took. My dad, my sister, my brother-in-law, my stepmom, and him took a great picture, and it really made me miss everybody. And my sister is due with her baby. I posted on Facebook way back in the summer. We did a baby reveal thing, and I posted it, and I screamed and jumped up and down like never before, because she and I, now she comes to me for her little intuitive sister, and I'm like, it's a girl, but you guys know how I'm always wrong with gender. But we were really convinced it was a girl. And we did the gender reveal, it was all little blue pieces of paper everywhere. She's having a boy. And I screamed and yelled so much because I am such a ridiculous boy mom that I was like so excited that she is going to feel what it feels like to have a son. And to me, I was like, you are going to be so happy you have a son. You have no idea. The boys are the best. Not that I have anything to compare it to. I don't have daughters to say that. So I'm not saying daughters aren't. I just don't know. So I'm excited. So she's due this week. So, the 12th, which is this week. So we're waiting. And I was texting her early saying, please, I know I'm going to be annoying, but could you please tell me when you're in labor, because I'm going to die. I need to know. I need to know the details. Oh my God. So yes, that's what's happening in our family over here. Okay, let's see. Questions. As you stated, your brain can't fathom about frozen chickens, but I think what your brain does is so much more important. Thank you. I wouldn't say it's more important. It's definitely different. It's definitely like, our brains are wired for something special. Every single one of us. Mine happens to be in this stuff that I do, but I don't think it's more important. I mean, having the presence of mind of being very process oriented, especially when it comes to like food and cooking is nice. It's nice. I like, I can have moments when I do it. So I don't want to like sell myself short. Like I have cooked, but I've suddenly like, pandemic, I'm at the part where I'm like, no, everyone, no, nope, we're not doing anymore. We were cooking a lot more. Now I'm like cereal, I don't know, dinner. Well, Greg's a dinner guy. Like he likes to have dinner. So I'm like, knock yourself out, pal. Knock yourself out. What are we having tonight? So yeah. But I have moments. where I'm like, oh, I bought this. I'll make that. But I can't sustain that on a week-to-week basis. No. Mike, you're getting a shot tomorrow. Awesome. His first shot. I'm going with my gut in regards to the vaccine. It's telling me to wait for now. See, that's what I think people need to do I do think you need to go, what feels right for me? Just what feels right. Don't worry about your neighbor. Don't worry about your spouse. Don't worry about this one and just go inward and you'll get the answer. You'll all get the answer for that, for yourselves. Let's see. See, everyone's talking about the shot. Am I planning a huge bash for Greg? Oh, for his birthday. Greg's birthday's coming up on the 19th. It's going to be crazy. We are going to have, it's going to be a big party. Yeah, big party. Virtual party. Sure. Jennifer, why do spirits throw things? I'm with all the questions tonight. I like it. I want the questions, you guys. They don't throw things. And it's not a common thing. That's for sure. It's not like, paranormal TV, they show a lot of that type of energy because it is exciting and creepy and scary and intriguing. And so people tune into that, but it's not common. But how do they throw things? It's really not like they're in the room and they just threw something. It's more that their energy is present with your energy, present and aligned at the same time to experience something, say, falling or moving. And I have heard over the years, 20 years, I've heard them on the other side say it, but it's not really common. And I would encourage people not to look for that sort of sign because very often, as soon as we see something like that, we attribute it to the other side when it's not. That and anything that, like I have people often saying, I had an energy and I think it scratched me, or I think it hit me and I have bruises or I have marks. And I'm not the medium to ask that. And what do I mean by that? There will be some mediums that will say, oh my gosh, yes, they tore you up. That was them. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to say that to people because I can't say all the time because I don't know, but 9 times out of 10, you are not scratched, bit, or bruised by any energy that's no longer housed in a body, that there is another explanation for it. So people over the years have gotten really mad at me for saying that. But I don't want people, I want people also in their human bodies, I want us to be mentally healthy. And once we start moving down that train of thought of, oh my gosh, I think I was scratched or poked or whatever, poked with pain, which is different than feeling as if someone put their arm on you or their hand. That's different. It leads people down a line of everything is a sign from their loved one, and they don't get grounded in the grief process of your loved one's body has died and their physical presence is not here anymore. And now we need to create a spiritual language between us and a spiritual connection or an energetic connection. That's where I differ. So with throwing and that sort of stuff, I would not be the medium that would feed into that line of thinking. I won't take it away because I have heard it and seen it, but it's really not typical. Does that make sense? Does that somebody said to me the other day, I love when you keep asking, does that make sense? I just want to keep saying, yes, Deborah, it makes sense. And I'm like, oh my God, am I so annoying when I ask that? So does that make sense? I want us to approach energy and the other side from a very mental, emotional, human space versus a very unrealistic paranormal space. That's what I want for people, because the other way is very disconnected from our true nature and ourself. Oh my gosh. Amber, I feel the same way. Amber says March feels like it's taking 10 years to get through. I feel that too. I do. I'm just like, it's the 8th? How is it only the 8th of March? I don't get it. So good. I'm glad. On my Instagram, you guys, which is at the letter M, Deborah Hanlon. On Instagram, every day I'm posting an affirmation. It's just a card. My kids have told me that my voice is mad annoying. I agree. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like, oh my God, I know. I think my voice sounds annoying. So maybe you'll like the affirmation. Maybe it'll inspire you. Maybe it'll center you, or maybe you'll laugh now because you'll be like, oh my God, her voice is mad annoying. So whatever, but you can find those on my Instagram page, which is at I am Deborah Hanlon. Let's see. Yeah, don't forget thumbs up. And you guys can share, by the way. Please do. Please, when I'm on and you know somebody that would like be into this, share with them. I could use some more shares. Wait, what happened? Police women at the door? What? On the 25th. I love Monday nights with Deb. Thank you, Kate. Have I ever met the Long Island medium or Tyler Henry? No. I didn't meet the Long Island medium. I've only seen her once or twice, maybe on like a show. I never saw Tyler. I wouldn't be able to identify him if I did see him. Who am I thinking of that I always confuse with the Lisa Williams. I saw Lisa Williams up in like Kingston or something. And I always confuse her with the Long Island medium, but I have not. You have tickets to, I've met James several times. I did an interview with James. Did you guys see that with James from Prague about a year or 2 ago? Was it 3 already? I cried in this interview when I got to interview James von Prague. He was so adorable and gracious to do this interview with me. And the minute we got logged on, you could see it. It's like a Zoom call that we did. We'll repost it. It's on my YouTube channel, but we'll repost it or post the links. I cried when I saw him because I was like, oh my God, I can't even believe I'm like literally talking to James from Prague right now. Such a cool experience. So very cool. But I have not met the other two. John Edward I've spoken to, James von Prague, Lisa Williams, and a lot of like lesser, like no names like me. You know what I mean? Like people that aren't like big that I've met and spoke to. Yes. All right. Though time passes and we feel like our bond with those in heaven isn't as strong, I realized recently that the bond is still very strong. They're still very close. Do they experience time passing? Oh, such a great question, Eileen. No, they don't experience time passing, but they're aware that our perception of time is passing. So they don't feel not close with us ever. In fact, when we cross over, we're more present with us and our loved ones than ever before. And they know that, but we don't. So what they experience is pure and total constant connection with us, where we experience the lack of connection because our minds are wired to experience things and perceive things through our 6 senses. Those are our 5 basic senses that we know and our intuitive sense. But we need to experience things through our sensory experiences, and we experience energy less because we're not taught to experience energy. So we feel that they're gone because their physical body is gone. But they are aware of your time passing. We're getting older. We're moving through time. They're aware of that. But it's not like, oh, cool. It's gonna, Eileen's got 52 more years here on the planet before we are reconnected with her again. It's not like that because they already know you're reconnected in the now. Does that answer your question? Oh, got it. Thank you, Maria, for clarifying that. Matt Frazier, that is a name that what? Oh, and Suzanne Northrup, of course, I've met her. She's a John Holland. I interviewed John Holland too. Suzanne Northrup, I have to say, she really helps new mediums, and that's rare. Or in my experience, that has been rare. Suzanne, like I could text her right now and she would be like, "Hey, how are you? What's up?" She has been a really good help to me when I needed it. She has been somebody that just picks up the phone and just really, she doesn't know me, but I forget how we even got connected. And she's a good human. She has been a good human to me. Suzanne Northrup. That reminds me, I should probably message her. I'm looking for my phone again, you guys. It's right here. It's on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. That's what's happening. Oh my gosh. I was like, I gotta find my phone so I can text her. Oh my goodness. Let's see. They're saying pick up food, Greg. Yes, Jen, that makes sense. Moving glasses, being in alignment, timing, totally. That makes sense. Yeah. Yes, Deborah, it makes sense. My sister, Elena, my sister smelled my dad's pipe, then later smelled my mom's lotion she always used. Was that a visitation from them? Yes. And what is important is when we smell our loved ones, which sounds silly, but like it's usually something we associate them with. I mean, I've done readings over the years where I'm like, I smell barbecue. Why do I smell barbecue? And they're like, oh my God, my dad was the best barbecuer. And he liked to barbecue the special pork and he would smell like it afterwards. And I'm like, okay, well, every time you smell barbecue pork, think of your dad. So it's like cigarettes, cigars, pipes. That would make sense. But sometimes scents are like barbecued pork, that wood chips I've heard that over the years, or like sawdust, the smell of pennies. So there's lots of different scents that you associate with your loved ones. So when we smell that is that our brain is picking up on energy that the brain knows is them, but because our sensory, our eyes, our eyes aren't seeing them, our ears aren't hearing them, we aren't realizing like, oh, mom's here, oh, dad's here. So what does happen is the scent sensory goes off to help us identify mom is here. Oh, mom is here. So that's why we smell them. It's the brain is picking up on energy that is around you, but the eyes and the ears, the touch are not picking that up because it's not in the physical, but the smell, the scent will get picked up at times. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, it's a process of the brain helping you recognize energy in the room. Isn't that cool? It's so freaking cool. Let's see. So even though you can control your energy, who is my go-to when I need advice? That is a great question, Kim. My friends, Greg, of course. My mentor, she was my therapist, and she became my mentor, my friend. Her name is Ann Quinn. Those are my dad, my stepmother. As far as intuitive advice, my friend Kim, who's an astrologer. I've been consulting her lately on a couple of things. So I don't really go for much intuitive advice. I'm just trying to think, is that true? Like, do I not go for any intuitive advice? Yeah, I don't really go for intuitive advice often, but when I go for advice, meaning in intuitive for advice, but when I go for advice, I'm asking particular friends who I know are intuitive. Does that make sense? So, like, yeah, my friends, Greg, my stepmother, my father, those are the ones that I go to. That's a cool question. No one's ever asked that before. I used to have somebody years ago, but she's no longer like reachable. In fact, I sent her an email back in 2013, and I think in 2019 or 2018 I got a response from her office saying, oh, she's no longer doing this. And I was like, it took you 5 years to tell me she's no longer doing this. She lives out in Arizona. I do go to a couple of different like energy healers, or have been. I haven't gone a couple weeks, or months, but I will. Certain Reiki practitioners, certain Jinjitsu is something that I just was recently in the last 7 months or so turned on to. So that type of energy work I'll do. Let's see. Are there convention type meetings that intuitives can go to and be together? That is a great question, Karen. I'm just trying to visualize that. Like, what would that look like? I'm sure there are. I won't go to them. This when I sound like such an a-hole. I know. I'm trying to open my little tube for my lips. That's not working. I'll open a different one. I'm sure there are. There has to be. There is for everything nowadays. There's like conventions for people who are like toothpick aficionados, right? So there's got to be one for mediums, but I've never gone to one. Maybe like a spirit fair or something. I've gone to like mind, body, spirit conventions. Those are cool. There used to be one in Philadelphia that I went to a couple years in a row. Those are neat. But as far as a medium fair, I don't know. Here's where I'm an a-hole. If there was one, I'd want to be in charge of it. Isn't that such an asshole thing to say? I'm going to own it. I know that my control freak, I don't know. I just don't like creepy. Let's not do creepy. I've had a lot of people come to me and medium told me this, and so I don't do creepy. And creepy isn't a visual. Creepy is like the way people talk to people and read people. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyone having a medium convention? Yeah, I'm not going. I'm not going to go to Oh, that's a good question. Now, because we're saying this, our like algorithms and all of our devices are going to hear us, and we're all going to get like notifications of like psychic convention, which I do think is different than like a psychic fair. I would imagine it would be. Watch in like 5 years' time, I like started a medium convention business. You can all hit me then. You can. Okay. I'm just giving you permission. I would like to train mediums. I think I'd like to train mediums on delivery. I would. Like, no, don't say your dad hates you. No, that's not accurate. But I can't have that control. Donna, my father-in-law passed away in 79. Last night, for the first time, he came in my dream. He was just as I remembered him. I followed him into a house, but that was all. So excited to share with the hubby. So, oh my God, yeah. So that's a lot of stuff. It's cool. You waited, I can't do the math, 42 years, almost 42 years for that dream. That's a great thing to share because some people don't have dreams and they wonder why. And I always tell people you just probably are somebody who's not getting your messages from the other side through a dream. That's all that means. It doesn't mean they're not around. Let's see. Nancy reconnected with her best friend because of what I learned from you. I smiled through my tears. Good. That, yeah, our loved ones will often go if they're not showing up in our dreams, it doesn't mean that they're not there. It just means we're probably not people who remember our dreams. So they will go to someone else's dreams to who they know will make sure they tell us, oh my gosh, so-and-so was in our dream the other night. So if someone says to you, so-and-so was in a dream, sometimes we get annoyed, like, what the hell are they going to them for? And they're not coming to me, and they're going to them because they know you're not getting the memo. You're not remembering the dream. Let's see. Eileen, it was, remember I didn't get the 4-letter J name. Deb goes, Joan, it's you. Oh, you guys are talking to each other. I was so grateful the night we were there with Suzanne. I got a reading from Suzanne, which is cool. And I froze, you guys, by the way. 2 times, big arenas, I did get a reading. One was Lisa Williams in, what, UPAC, I think it's called, in Kingston, Ulster Perform, I don't know. And we were on the top balcony. I went with my ex-husband. And we were on the top balcony, and I'm watching, and I didn't want a reading. I didn't need a reading. But I went to use the bathroom, and in the bathroom, I said to my brother, I'm like, all right, if you're here, show up. Let me know. And there was probably about 1,500 people in the audience. And I was like, let me know. Show up. Let me know you're here. Let me hear from you. I came back from the bathroom. I sat down, and she said, hold on, there's a little boy here. And instantly I knew. I'm like, oh my God, no, go away, don't talk. And I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. It's 1,500 people. I'm way up on the balcony. I'm going to stay incognito. And she's saying all this stuff that's totally me. My ex-husband's actually going, this is for you. Now, I didn't tell him I was in the bathroom saying like, hey, Chris, come up. He's going, this is for you. He's talking about your grandmother. He's talking about your sister. He's talking about your mom. And I'm like, shh. Like, don't say anything. And then finally he like got my hand up, his hand, I don't know, attention on me. And she starts saying things, and I froze and was like, yeah, no, I were you. I was my Sasquatch. I was my own Sasquatch. It was totally me. And then it maybe lasted for 3-4 minutes. And I was so not responsive because I couldn't speak, because I was like, I can't believe this is happening right now. And then she moved on to somebody else. So I do joke with you guys for not saying things, but I do. I'm that person. And then with Suzanne Northrup, I was just frozen, and I started to like tear up, and I was like, felt like such a dork that I was like, why am I shocked by this? It's weird to be on the other side, no pun intended, of a reading. I like being the reader more than I like to receive the reading. Oh, Carol is saying, what do I think is going to be the most interesting trend for 2021? Oh, I'm not normally a trendy type of person. I have to think about that one. I don't know. I don't know. I think more and less, I'm not thinking really in objects and things like that. Or fashion stuff. I'm thinking more in like personal development trends. I think so in those terms, what's trendy is the whole like in personal development, which I don't necessarily agree with. It's sort of like I have a voice and I'm gonna speak it. That's been trending. And I hope we break that one. Hear me out, you guys. Hear me out, especially on Women's Day. Of all days, I'm going to say this. I don't think anyone should ever not speak up, and I don't think anyone should be silenced. And I think everyone's opinion matters, and everyone needs to voice it and say it. Totally. However, at what point will listening be trendy? That's what I want to know. Listening, like active both ways listening. I would like to see that trendy. So on my line, the whole like, I'm not going to be silenced and my voice is going to be heard. Powerful, important. Yes, do it. But there's the other side of that. And the other side of that is if I'm going to say what I think I feel, then I'd like us to all be open to someone who's not thinking and feeling that way. So I'd like to see this. I would like to see the trend fall apart and be met with more equality in that trend. I know that's kind of not what you were talking about, but in terms of personal development, I see what everyone's following and I see our posts and it's sort of like, I matter, me first. Again, totally important. And when I say I matter, do not confuse that for the Black Lives Matter, which I feel very strongly about. So in a positive way for Black Lives Matter, we won't go into the politics of all that, but I don't want anyone to confuse when I say I matter, that I'm saying I matter too and they don't matter. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying the whole trend of like my voice counts and I'm going to speak up and I'm not going to silence myself anymore. Like we have more forums than ever before to be able to speak up, which is cool. We should. I highly, highly encourage people to say what they feel, no matter how taboo it is. I think what's true and real is best. But there's a flip to that. And if we want to speak up and speak out, then I would like us to match that with active listening trend. So Carol's saying that is where you were going. Okay, good. So it's a balance. It's a counterbalance. Again, I'm going to get people that go, I can't believe you told people that they shouldn't speak up. And then I'm going to say to you, you didn't listen, which is the other part of what I'm saying. So don't everyone get all crazy about that. We often don't think about the flip side. Like I said in the beginning with the plugs, who's plugged into, pay attention to whose energy is plugged into. The flip of that is, who am I plugged into? Who am I draining? Whose energy am I taking? Because I guarantee everybody is draining somebody at any point. And a lot of times I hear women, we often feel very like, but everyone expects me to do it and everyone expects me to do it. And that is true to a degree, but then we have to kind of balance that. So everything in life, I'd like to see the trend of balance. And to have balance, you have to have two opposing forces to exist. I would love to see the trend of balance coming back. That would be superb. So let's start it. #balance, #listen, #express then shut up, hashtag, because I like saying hashtag. That's what I think in the trend of spirituality. And it starts with you. It starts with each one of you. How often are we so quick to make an assumption and judgment over stuff we don't know? How about this whole thing with the royals? I started talking about it a little bit last night. I watched a couple of clips today about the royal interview with Oprah. I don't know why I'm intrigued by it. I don't know. I don't really follow the royals. I think Meghan's gorgeous. I think Catherine's gorgeous. I like to see their outfits. And I love how tall William and Harry are. That's the extent of my royal intrigue. What I do watch is how many people have an opinion about something we don't know anything about. Either side. I don't know if they call it the firm. I don't know if the firm, meaning the royal, the institution, I don't know how that works. So I don't have an opinion about it. Sounds terrible the way they're saying it. I don't know. I don't not believe them. I don't know what it's like. I don't think they're I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know what it feels like to be someone in that position. So I am listening and taking it in, noticing my judgments, noticing when I'm like, yeah, I don't think that happened. And then I'm like, wow, Deb, you're an asshole. I don't know if that happened. Who am I? So pay attention to how we're triggered over, especially over stuff like doesn't matter. Listen, just listen to information and realize, oh yeah, I'm not aware. I don't know anything about that. I might have opinion, but opinion doesn't matter. It's not the truth. So I'm curious about that. I've been watching different clips on Facebook because I can't see the whole thing. Does anybody have the link to the whole thing? Is there possible to see the whole thing? I can't see it. I don't know why I need to see it, but I've seen portions and people are ripping both sides apart. And I'm like, do you guys realize like none of us know them? I'm intrigued by them. But why? I don't need to rip Megan apart. I don't know her. I don't need to rip Charles apart. I don't know him. I don't know. I don't know anything. So I think a lot of times with celebrity, I think we think we're entitled to have an opinion about it, and they're just living their lives, which are very different than my life anyway. I don't know. I just get all triggered. I get triggered by people's opinions as if well, I think this and I think that. And I'm like, good. Didn't solve shit. Now did it? Right? You guys feel me? You guys know me by now. Pay attention. I'm not saying to to take down people who are making opinions. I'm saying use people's opinions to notice your own and see that I'm just as big as the a-hole as the next person who's having an opinion. And then we're all the same. Does that make sense? So I'm not saying this to rip apart people who are ripping apart people, because then again, I'm ripping apart people. I'm doing the exact same thing I'm complaining about. Does that make sense? Maybe I should start naming my Monday nights. I'm going to name it, Does That Make Sense? Or Make Sense with Deborah Hanlon, or Don't Make Sense with Deborah Hanlon. So that's my triggery thing about how I got there. I don't even know how we ended up on that question, but yeah, we did, didn't we? How did I get there? What the heck is wrong with me? Thank you, Rihanna, saying that you don't find my voice annoying. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, right, because Carol asked a question. Wow. That's the AD. I was like, whoa, how did I get there? Don't know. Trend, balance, see both sides. See that you have a side, own your side, value your side, support your side, but know that there's just a side. It's just a side. It's not the whole picture. And that's my message to all of us. What will that do? Relax us to where we don't have to be right. We don't have to convince anybody. We could just see that, oh my God, we're seeing things very differently. We're seeing it differently. You're all watching the same exact broadcast of me right now, very differently. Very differently. Different rooms, different devices, different times of day. You're in a different part of the world, but we're all watching the same thing, but we're experiencing it differently. So everything in life works like that. And if we can pull ourselves back and stop being we need to be heard all the time for the nothing things. Well, I think Harry this, and I think Charles that. Oof, it's a lot of energy wasted. I think we should probably check I think we should probably go vacuum out our bathrooms or something, because I know I got more shit to do I don't do it. I ignore it. But yeah. Am I sticking my foot in my mouth? People will say, I don't like your political views. And I like my political views, but I also know that my political views are just mine. And they mean jack shit to anyone else. And I can hold them and I honor them, but I'm also learning to shut up and listen and still disagree. It's really weird. It's kind of like a weird thing that happens, that you can totally disagree and totally be fine and friends still. Have I connected with my brother often since you have this gift? I believe I connect with him in a way pretty much every day, which sounds weird. But he is there. Now, I'm not saying he's sitting on the edge of my bed there, but I've been noticing within myself that I bring his presence in. That doesn't mean that I'm looking help me, Christopher, help me, look at this, look at that. It's not that I talk to him, but I do notice that certain numbers will pop up and I just feel like he's there, and I don't know. So I think he is there every single day, but do I connect with him for answers? No, not really. Not really. But that's just the way I am. Had he died yesterday at this age, I would be talking to him all the time. Melanie, Deb, every time you mention your brother, an image of Popeye comes in my head. Any idea of why that would happen? You can tell me I'm crazy. I would never tell you you're crazy. I'm just trying to think of that. Not that I'm connecting with right now, but I know, I used to watch Popeye, but I don't know if he used to watch it with me, but because I was 3, I don't remember a lot of things. So maybe there is something with Popeye in him and I don't even know. So I wouldn't, or maybe it's your interpretation of him. Who knows? So I wouldn't say like, oh my God, or I could be wrong or I could be crazy. Like, no, that's just your experience of him. And it's good that you're aware that Popeye pops up. Does that make sense? Oh my God. I'm becoming aware of how many times I say it. Let's see. I'm glad they're happy. It was great. So, we're all weighing in our opinions. Just makes me love the life I have. Yeah, it just makes me realize like, wow, I'm plugged in. I'm tuned into this whole thing. I don't know why, because it's so far removed. Maybe it's that little gossip in me that wants to know a story, but I catch myself in like, I don't know if that really happened. Like, I literally don't know. So I can't say, oh, she's this, she's that, he's this, he's that, because I don't know. And I have to be okay with the realize that maybe I don't know the truth. I'm probably not going to get the truth. And either way, the truth doesn't have bearing on my life to me. Maybe I'm naive on that too. We only know what the media shows and tells us. That I think is a problem. That I do think is the human problem right now. Let's see. Maybe I associate with him with strength. Yep, that's possible too. Superhero, superpower. Yep. Okay, there's a lot of questions over here. I thought I saw, maybe not. You guys, thank you for staying here with me. I feel like I'm so boring. It's so much better when you guys have questions because I feel like, ooh, I gotta fill time. So Amanda's saying, I'm curious if you ever have spirits come through or have something intuitive to say to a listener while you're on live. Good question. No, not when I do it this way. It's a good question. Only because I'm not plugged into everyone in that way. Like my focus isn't that. So it literally is like a switch for me where I start to switch and I stop looking at your questions and I start sort of looking into, not with my eyes, but looking into or feeling my way through your names and vibrations. So no, I 99.9% of the time in a YouTube live or something like this, no, I don't feel that I get information, but it's not because it's not coming. It's kind of like I'm just not allowing it to come or not allowing myself to be aware of it. I feel like my papa leaves me quarters everywhere. It's been happening for 20 years. I do notice it not as much anymore. Is that normal over time to start to lose that connection? Absolutely. And it's not that they're not. It's just that we lose the need to have something physical like that particular sign to make us feel the connection. So, and it is common to start to realize like, oh my God, I didn't think of them today, or, oh my gosh, I didn't ask them for anything today. And that's a weird feeling for us here. So it's kind of a sign to show that you are aware that they're still present energetically, but you're not in that need. So signs happen, well, they don't happen more often in the beginning of or earlier on when someone dies, but we are more aware of them because we're more plugged into needing and wanting them at that time. So does that make sense? No. Yeah, and sometimes, thank you, Joanne. My husband passed 2 years ago this May. I feel like I never get any signs he's still around. Is that because I'm trying or looking too hard? I love this question because I hear it all the time, and it upsets me when I hear people telling people, like when someone dies, some people have the experience where they feel or see or experience their loved one right away. That is rare, but it happens. It absolutely happens. However, if you're one of the people that it happens to, be very careful not to, and people do this out of good. They're not doing it to hurt anyone or harm anyone or upset anyone, but it ultimately does kind of mess with our psyches, because if you say, like, say you had that experience, when my dad died, I felt him that night. He came to a dream that first night after he passed. And then when your girlfriend's father passes, you say, oh my gosh, he's going to come to a dream. Or when my dad died, I knew instantly that he was okay and I felt him. Be careful not to say that to someone who has experienced a brand new death, because that might not be their experience. And you don't want to make anyone expect that to happen, because it is rare. That doesn't normally happen. So not feeling them around is way, way, way more common than feeling them around. And if you're not feeling them around, it's not because they're not around, it's because you're being human. And that's really important and healthy. Believe it or not, it's really healthy to not feel them around, because they're not here in the physical. And it is important to remind ourselves that, which sounds crazy because it's sort of like, well, we're aware that they're not here. But it's when I say it's good that you don't feel them, it doesn't feel good, but don't confuse that they're not around. It could be that you're looking too hard. I don't think you are. I think it's more that you think signs are more obvious than what they are. So a sign for someone could literally be, actually for Eileen, I yesterday was in a parking lot and I saw something and I knew it was for Eileen, which, long story short, I won't share all the details, but I knew it was for Eileen. I've seen that before, but I knew it was for her yesterday, so I shared it with her. But what I saw was something that I probably see all the time. But yesterday, was it yesterday, Eileen? Yesterday, Sunday. I needed to share it. So sometimes you're seeing it, but you're not aware that you're seeing a sign and you're kind of taking it for granted. So you're probably thinking the signs are going to be a lot more obvious than they really are. A lot of times they're not very obvious, and that's okay. I think it's really healthy for people to not feel them, because I do get a lot of people that say, I know they're here all the time. They come to me every single day. And I'm not saying that's not true at all. But sometimes we overinterpret everything to be a sign, which tends to take our energy field out of balance. So we go both ways. Oh my God, they're not here, I don't feel them. Or, oh my God, I feel them constantly. And then eventually, as our grief process goes, we find a balance in the middle. See, we are going to trend balance this year, you guys. Balance in the middle of, sometimes I feel them here, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get the signs, sometimes I don't. Let's see, Diana, what does it mean when there are big snakes in the pool of someone you're no longer in a relationship with? Is this in a dream or is this for total real? Like, is this like, are there really big snakes in a pool of someone you're no longer in a relationship with? I'll wait for that answer. Greg, what was that comment for? Now you know my life. What does that mean? And I sounded like so evil right there. I'm reading other questions as I'm speaking, so it sounded, let's see, I wasn't watching all of their interactions. Everyone who crossed over is definitely at peace. I can assure you that. I know it's hard to believe and I know it's hard to feel that, but I always say they've got the good spot. They're not suffering. They're not like, oh my God, what happened? And they're not stuck. I haven't heard this in a while, so hopefully this is becoming more known that this doesn't work that way, but they're not like trying to find the light. They don't have issues crossing over. Just like we don't have issues, that's not a good analogy. Because people are going to go, yes, I did. Trying to find an analogy that'll work. I don't have one on the top of my head right now. I'll think of one like at 2 a.m. and I'll be like, oh, I got to remember that for next Monday. But we do not, it's part of our natural rhythm and cycle. We don't have trouble breathing in and out. Some people say, yes, I do. I have asthma, this and that. So that's why I'm trying to, you don't have trouble with your heart beating. Yes, I do. I have a heart issue. But for the most part, we don't have issues with what is a natural function. So we don't have issues leaving our body. Let's see. Erin, I like when you say, does that make sense? Because it makes us think in ways we may not have thought before. I love that you put it that way, because that's what I want to do. Just think outside the box, see it in a different light, because we're all so focused on this is what we know, this is what we know. And we very rarely see things from a different angle or point of view or perspective, which unempowers us, by the way. When we stay so committed to one vision, we completely unempower, what's the word, you guys? Ourselves. So forget about the rest of the world, what it does to us, but we do it to ourselves first and foremost. Let's see. Okay, dream. Okay, Diane, I was scrolling down. Very vivid dream of big, long snakes in his pool. Snakes represent transformation, actually, in a dream. Well, they could represent a bunch of things. Historically, because of biblical stories, snakes also represent, sometimes it represents evil, actually, but more times it represents energy. The Kundalini energy is represented by a snake. Snakes represent healing a lot of times, transformation. So I would defer to what are your thoughts and interpretations. Like, are you somebody who hates snakes? Do you think he's a snake? So if you think he's a snake, or he's doing something snaky or slithery or sneaky, it's probably that, and less of the transformation. So with dreams, we have an archetype which many things represent, but then it's our interpretation of those things, what we think. If somebody loves snakes, and snakes are something they love and hold and cherish, then a dream about a snake would be very different for a dream where I dream of a snake. So we want to look on how you feel about what you're dreaming about. Erin says, your book makes us think in many different ways. I love it and recommend it to all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. I still can't believe that. I know that's crazy. I never really talk about my book. I stopped doing book clubs. I guess I should. If you guys have questions on the book, by all means, let me know what those are. Let's see. In the moment. Thankful to be divorced and happy again. That's a good feeling. I know that sounds crazy. When people get divorced, a lot of times people go, oh, I'm so sorry. And sometimes that's appropriate response, but a lot of times it's like, no, really, it's fine. It's good. It's a good thing. How did I pick my boys' names? Oh my God, what a cute question, Kim. So Titanic, true story. Jack in Titanic. When I saw that movie, I wasn't pregnant or anything. It was like, I think 2 or maybe 3 years before I got pregnant that movie came out. And I kept hearing like Rose called Jack, Jack. And I turned to, he was my boyfriend at the time, my ex-husband. And I said, oh my God, when I have a son, I didn't say when we have a son. I said, when I have a son, I am going to totally name him Jack. And he said, that was my uncle's name. I said, yeah, you had an Uncle Jack? Yeah, my Uncle Jack Harrison. His last name was Harrison. And I was like, I am totally naming my first son Jack Harrison. Again, not our first son. I thought, I'm going to name my first son Jack Harrison. I don't care who he's with, but I'm naming him Jack Harrison. So, we ended up getting married. And if it were a boy, it was Jack Harrison. It had to be Jack Harrison. So that's my first son's name. Second son, I always liked the name Ben, and I knew the name Ben had to be his name. We had discrepancy on the middle name. I wanted to name his middle name Tobias, which everyone said, you're out of your mind, which I agree now, he is not a Benjamin Tobias. I don't know where it came from. I just liked it. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, no, don't do that." No offense to the name Tobias. I actually liked it. I don't anymore, but my ex-husband's middle name is Matthew, so it became Benjamin Matthew. And then my youngest son is Christopher John, and my brother who passed name is Christopher, and my brother who is still here, his name is John. So Christopher John. I do like something to be said for names going down through the family. I like doing that. So that's a cute question. Thank you, Kim. Let's see. How should you interpret your dreams to see the messages? They say that dreams are coming from an event that happened that day, the day of the night that you had the dream or the day before. So you might want to look at like what was going on during your day, and a lot of times little prompts will show up. And then like, how'd you feel about your dream? Like if I saw a mouse in my dream, then you start thinking like, okay, was the mouse like a friendly mouse, like Feifel? Or was the mouse like Tom and Jerry? Tom was the one that was always, which one was which? Anyway, I think Jerry was the cute little one and Tom was the annoying one, right? But my point is just to pay attention to like how you feel about those things. What are your thoughts about those things? Like I said with snakes before, if you're someone who loves snakes and a snake shows up in a dream and you're loving it, that's a cool thing. If a snake came up in my dream, it probably would give me a negative connotation. So it depends. Then there's like dream interpretation books and all of that stuff too. But usually interpreting dreams, I love interpreting dreams. Usually I can see a thread or what it means, or I could feel what's going on when someone talks about dreams, but I'm not a dream interpreter. That's like not what I do. Like somebody wouldn't book an appointment with me. Like, could you help me with my dreams? Actually, that's not true. Someone did. So if you don't get signs or winks, do they feel frustrated or disappointed that we don't get it? No, they've already known that we're not going to get it. They already know. So they're not frustrated. They'll still give them. But they already know that you're not going to, because they already know you and they already know the future. They already know what's happening. So no. Snakes and water, bad signs. Snakes and water, both transformation, and snakes are transformation. And water is all about the emotional field. Anytime we have water in a dream, it typically means something to do with the emotions. Like when we have a stormy sea, usually means there's stormy emotions inside. If there's a calm water, it usually means that the emotional level is calm. I had a student named Brooklyn Bridge. Wow. That's a rough one. It's definitely, I mean, I'm conscious of like, she might watch this, so I don't want to be like, oh, that's an interesting name. Elena, I keep your book on my nightstand and I always read and reread it. Oh my God. You have no idea how much that thrills me. Seriously. I know, like, maybe I should think like, it's cool. People read your stuff, but I don't think like that. So I do like to hear it. So thank you. I dream all the time. Someone wants to kill me. Someone's trying to kill me. Always a repetitive dream, but in different ways. They try to kill me. That's a fun one. It's probably, you know what, you guys? Let's do this. Type in a little bit of a dream that you have, more current unless it's a recurring one, and I'll see what I can do for the next few minutes on a little bit of a dream interpretation. All right, because you guys hung in for so long all this time, so I waited to the end to do a little intuitive stuff. I was just going to do intuitive questions, but dreams keep popping up, so let's do that. So Joanne, we'll start with you. Someone trying to kill you is usually an aspect of like there's a part of yourself that you're trying to either not see or not feel like you can see or be in your life. So it feels like you're being killed. A part of you is being killed. So it's not real. You're not really being killed. It's not a prophetic dream about you being killed. It's about there's a part of yourself that feels dead or is someone's trying to kill in you. Snakes are phallic. Melissa, you get a lot of people and friends backstabbing. Could be for you, could be past life, could be where that, not literally like you were stabbed in the back, but like past life where you're waiting to be betrayed, or because I see it earlier on for you, it's like earlier on in life, there was some sort of betrayal or major mistrust that happened. Could be like, 8 years old and earlier, like very early on, where trust became something like an issue for you. So let me know if it makes sense to you guys. If you are, if I get to yours, let me know, like, oh my God, yes, that makes sense, or not sure. Don't tell me I'm wrong though, okay? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Please tell me, like, no, that doesn't resonate. I don't know. Please be honest with me. Nicole, I just dreamed someone walked up and cut my hair and the rest fell out in clumps. Oof. Identity that changes faster and in a way that you weren't the orchestrator of. So that would be like, your identity, who you are, is changing. You're making the changes. You're taking the steps, and then it happened faster, and it became in a way that you didn't intend for it at first. Let me know what you think on that. I'm gonna try to go back and forth to each one. My dream, my teeth are falling out, like I'm spitting out loose teeth. That is, I think, one of the top most common dreams of teeth falling out. Isn't that so wild? If I can remember correctly, teeth falling out has to do with, I think there's two things. That one you will definitely find a ton of information on, because I think it is like fear of falling, or I'm falling in a dream and my teeth falling out, or something to do with teeth coming out, and dreams are the two top most common dreams. But I think it has to do something with being social, if I remember. Something about our social lives, and the teeth represent people. I think that's more the generalized one. I'm trapped, Melanie. I'm trapped in a white car that is sinking in water, recurring with my deceased mother. So car always represents the self. So car, house, any kind of vehicle that we're in, or, house, if we're in a shed, if we're in a garage, any container that we're in represents the self. So it would say that I would say that there's a lot of you that feels like you aren't in control of. And it might be an association of, like, nothing against your mother, because I know you were close with your mother, but it was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be out. I don't want to turn out like my mother, or I don't want to go down and then have my ending be like her. Some sort of comparison with your mother, and about not feeling in control of your life. Holding a baby girl with beautiful eyes. Oh my gosh, that's totally about self-love. Self-love, loving that little girl in you. That little baby girl in you is all about, like, seeing yourself, nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself, being the nurturer of yourself, your infant self. My mom, Alina, my mom was at end of bed, standing there, putting on her coat, saying, I'm leaving. So that is a visitation dream, probably, if she's passed. If she's not passed, it could be a little bit of a fear of her when she passes, like, oh my gosh, don't leave me, or why are you leaving me? But I think you're talking in a visitation. So that would be a visitation, like, hey, I'm here, but I'm leaving now. You're not going to see me again, but I'm still here. All right. Since I was 3, I've had a dream. A lady in all white comes and floats in my, I'm assuming that might mean bed. What's near EOL? In my EOL. I thought maybe bed. Floats in my room, floats in my, what's that word? I get the gist of the dream now. I just want to know, like, what were you intending to write? So let's see, room and sits on my bed and used to hide now and has been happening again. I can't tell what she's saying. She also has super blonde hair like me. Cool. That would probably be a guide. And that would be, I would think that's less than a dream and more of a visitation of a guide, especially if it's recurring, especially if she's dressed all in white. And I don't think it's like a grandparent or like a relative that, I think it's literally like a guide. And I very rarely talk about spirit guides and that sort of thing. Let's see, Deb, who is the woman that does past lives? Carol Bowman. Carol Bowman in Philadelphia does them. I dreamed I was kissing my husband, and when I opened my eyes, it was my ex-son-in-law. I said, "Why are you here?" He said, "Your daughter and I are back together." Woke up freaked out. Sorry, Phyllis. I can hear your voice saying that, so that made me laugh. Yeah, that would be a little freaked out too. So this is your ex-son-in-law. So you're equating in that dream and trying to process being left and being alone and equating it with is this the same as what my daughter's going through versus being left or divorced versus having your husband pass. So there's some sort of trying to rectify both of you relating on the level that we don't have our husbands, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Does that make sense? Let's see. Karen, yes, she's written that I know of 2 books, Children's Past Lives and another one. And I can't think of the other one's name. I can't think of it. But yeah, if you Google her name, she'll come up with both her books. Michelle, I dreamt I was breastfeeding a baby and don't have any children yet. Oh, it could be that you're seeing a future child, especially if you want one, like if you're actively trying to or will eventually actively try to have a baby. It's also about nurture. Being that you said, and I don't have one yet, that makes me feel like you want to, so that you're like meeting this baby before. You're meeting the baby's soul and taking care of the soul. Let's see. I'm just coming over here to Facebook. Do we all have a guardian angel? Yes. And how do you find out who they are? I would say do a meditation. I think it's better to feel and experience it more than having someone tell you who it is. That's my opinion. Like, if I'm told Archangel Michael is around me, that's cool. I like to hear that. But if I experience Archangel Michael around me, so much more powerful. So I would do a meditation of some sort to visit guides and angels. Let's see. I keep dreaming I'm pregnant, but we are done having kids, or that I keep falling in a hole. Both are the same, right? Getting pregnant again and when we're done having kids is very similar to falling into a hole. I'm kidding. Not really, but no. Dreaming that you're pregnant doesn't necessarily mean it's pregnancy. It usually means rebirth, new project, new phase, new step, anything a baby represents. So if you're done having children, it doesn't always mean you're going to. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't always. I'm looking over your question just to see. Or keep falling in a hole is usually about going deeper into your layers of consciousness. So falling into a hole sounds like a really bad thing. But actually, anytime we're falling, we're kind of like descending into ourselves a lot of times. Or if we go really high outside of ourselves, we're going up in consciousness. So down deep inside ourselves in consciousness. And then you get lost there. Like you don't know what to do. It could be that your soul is feeling unrest because you don't know what to do, lack of purpose, which also baby would also represent feeling the need to have a purpose of some sort for you. So let me know what you think about that. Phyllis, I'd be freaked too. And Phyllis, you could have also been talking about or overhearing something about her ex-husband that day, which is why you equated it with him with your husband. Grace, I have many dreams where I've been in danger. I try to scream and nothing comes out. Yeah. That's knowing you. That's your preschool closet. That's the teacher that told you not to say anything. Not that they harmed you, but like, that no talking, no talking, being silenced, being afraid to speak up and speak out. So that would be more of a reflection dream or a projection dream of not feeling like you can speak up. That would be that. Maria, being on stage and totally forgetting my lines. That's another common one of some sort of performance or being on stage and we're naked. And you are, especially when it comes to work, you're a person who wants to prepare. And I don't mean like you prepare your lessons and you have all your papers. I don't mean that kind of prepare, like emotionally prepare. So this would be like your worst case scenario, like your true self is not ready to perform, knowing that you were a teacher. Does that make sense? So forgetting your lines, would be like not knowing how to relate to your students, not knowing how to show up in your way, which would make sense. Melanie, yes, absolutely, positively. Greg, are you thinking, do you have a dream that keeps coming up? Do share so I can shed light into the iceberg soul of yours. No. Oh my goodness. Makes sense, Grace. Great, good. AB, it makes sense. Good. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? Did I skip over anybody? Don't forget to hit like too, you guys. Also, don't forget, next Tuesday I have a gallery. So I haven't done a gallery in a while on purpose. So I have a virtual gallery. So you could right here. And I think there's a limit. I'm doing it with, and I'm forgetting the place, and I meant to look it up earlier when I was mentioning it to somebody. Oh my God, it's a fundraiser. I'm like, totally should not have said it if I can't think of who it's with. But it's a fundraiser next Tuesday online. I'll get the information for everybody. Ooh, tell us one of my dreams. I often don't remember my dreams. I'm one of those people that don't remember. For a while there, I was writing them down because I was taking a dream class and we were exercising, if you will, our intuition through our dreams. And I was like, I never dream. And it really was a great class. And it really did work. And then I forgot to do it every night. So I kind of dropped it. Well, I haven't had this dream in a long time. But when I was a kid, constantly had a dream where I was floating in outer space, like way, way outer space, like beyond the stars outer space. And everything below me was black, except it looked like almost like in a video game, like there were slices of Swiss cheese. I'm up here and I'm looking down on these like slices of Swiss cheese. And I would be free falling towards the Swiss cheese. And right before I'm going to hit the cheese part of the Swiss cheese, I'd actually fall through a hole in the Swiss cheese. This is how I interpreted as a kid, like I'm falling through Swiss cheese, which sounds insane. And I have it all. And then once I fell through the hole, I'd see the next layer of cheese and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to hit. And this one I'm going to hit. And then I fall through the hole of the Swiss cheese and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And I had it almost every night for a long time. Cool fun fact about that is years later, I mean, we're talking maybe 10 years ago. So I had this when I was really little, like 5, 6, 7 years old. I had a man in my meditation group. His brother was like a known physicist, and he shared his papers with me, his brother's, who has passed, papers on his theories of physics and energy. And I'm reading this guy's papers, and he calls a particular dimension in physics, though. It wasn't like dimension as far as like an intuitive thing. It was actual physics. And he called it his Swiss cheese theory that there were different layers of energy, dimensions, and consciousness that we could find ourselves in. And I was like, shut up. In my Deborah way, I was like, Swiss cheese theory. I know what that is. I used to fall through it all the time. And Howard, he was like, oh, that's nice, Deborah. Like, no, he was really intrigued by it. So isn't that cool? I think that was cool. Like, that was one of my proof. Like, I know about that. Let's see. Tomorrow's Children. Thank you, Eileen, for saying that. You couldn't buy tickets online. Huh. I'll look into that. I wonder why. I know that they wanted to open it up to their group first and before we opened it up, but I thought that period was over. So unless they sold out, but I didn't hear that yet, that they sold out. So yeah. Let's see. Thank you for that, Eileen, because I was like, oh my God. I don't know that people would call me an angel. It is a Zoom gallery, Helen, yes. So it is definitely done by Zoom. I am looking forward to, like, in the nicer weather when we could do some more galleries. We were doing a lot at the golf course in Montgomery outside, which was beautiful, under this beautiful tent. So fresh air, you had space in between tables. They did an amazing job. So I look forward to getting back into that when it's springtime. All right. Well, you guys, I'm going to kind of log off now. I mean, hey, I'm glad you stuck around. I got to answer some questions for you guys, especially the dream stuff. I think it's fascinating. It's just another layer of our unconscious/subconscious talking to us, which is also a part of our intuition talking to us. So I will see everybody hopefully Sunday night for meditation, 7:30. Please join me. Please try one. Please try one. Please try one. And then I will see you hopefully next Monday night. Let me answer that question, Melanie. When you have a lot of people that signed in on Zoom, how can you separate the energy? I found it's the exact same as in person. I'll feel my way, like when I'm in a room to do a gallery, I'll feel like, oh, I'm in the way back because I can feel it in the way back. So in Zoom, I don't feel it in the way back because you're all right here on my screen. So I'll feel like, okay, I'm on top corner. And I'll say, whoever's in my top corner of my screen, I'm with either you, or you. So that's how I do it. So it's very much the same, which is interesting. So thank you, everyone, for all of you. Have great, sweet dreams, too. And if you don't, just write it down in the morning. So have a good night. Thank you. Good night, Facebook. Good night, YouTube.